Hello everyone, Macy Lou here. Welcome back to A Wild Approach. In today's video, I am going to be discussing 7 native shrubs for your butterfly garden, Nectar edition. So if you're having a little bit of deja vu, no worries. I just came out with a video called 7 native shrubs for your butterfly garden, host plant edition. This is the Nectar plant edition. So when we say host plant, we mean it's a plant that provides larval food for Lepidoptera. And a lot of the times when I say that, I'm talking about butterflies specifically, but sometimes it can also apply to moths. So in this video, though, we are going to actually be talking about native shrubs that are really good nectar sources for the adult butterflies. Before I get started, I do want to have a disclaimer right off the bat, and that disclaimer is that I am in the eastern United States. So when I say something is native, I'm talking about native to my neck of the woods, and I include Bonap maps of the native ranges of these plants. That way you know exactly where these plants are native to, so that you're not having to just guess, like, native to where? The whole United States? Native to Canada? Like, where is this native? No, this is going to include the native ranges. You'll see, if you watch the whole video, you will see each plant will have its native range in green on a map of the eastern United States, okay? So let's get started. The first one is Silky Dogwood, which is Cornus amomum. This one attracts small butterflies, but also attracts monarch butterflies to the blooms. And I've also seen some images online of it attracting other large butterflies as well. This is actually the first year that I've seen monarch butterflies nectaring on my Silky Dogwood shrubs, and I was just so excited. Silky Dogwood gets 6 to 12 feet tall. It gets white to off-white blooms on it, and it prefers full sun, partial shade, or shade. In my garden, it's mostly in the full sun. It prefers well-drained, medium to wet, acidic soils for best results. I actually planted mine in a more dry spot, so I had to supplementally water it for the first few years. And since I didn't pick the best site for it, I will probably have to supplementally water it in the hottest parts of summer. And I'm actually getting a little bit of dieback in one of mine, and that could be why. It could be because it is in the root zone of a silver maple, and it is also in a retaining wall garden behind a concrete block wall. It gets a lot of that heat island effect, and it can get pretty dry up there in the summer. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. I did this because I got mixed signals when I was researching the plant back years ago when I first planted them. And some people said that it was drought tolerant, and I mean, I don't know. It's I wouldn't recommend, if you need a drought-tolerant plant, I wouldn't recommend Silky Dogwood for that. It's better for a wet-tolerant site instead of a dry-tolerant site. But it is resistant to black walnut, deer, erosion, and wet soil. Issues, though, it may form thickets, and its branches, as they touch the soil, like the lower branches, when they kind of lean down and touch the soil, they can root. So just keep that in mind if that's something you're not into. You just need to know that ahead of time. Mine don't really do it too much. They do it a little bit, but they don't really do it a crazy amount. And it's probably just because they're in a drier spot. Of course, if you're wanting to create a hedge, then the rooting and the suckering could actually be a plus for you. So Silky Dogwood is great for privacy and screening. If you want to screen out an ugly fence or an ugly view that's not too big, then it's actually pretty good. And if you need to screen out a longer area, like a wider area, you can just keep planting more and more of them in a row. But it's not really good for screening anything too tall because, again, it tops out at about 12 feet tall. Newer stems have gorgeous red color, and the leaves of the plant can turn sort of a reddish burgundy and sometimes like more of an orangey color in the fall. Here is the native range of Silky Dogwood in the green according to bonapp.org. Hi guys, could you hit the like button underneath this video? It helps me know which videos resonate most with you guys. Do you need a short, quick guide to get started in wildlife gardening? Well, turns out I've got just the thing. I just came out with a new free ebook just for you, and it's called A Wild Approach to Gardening 101, and it's available on my website today at macylou.com/shop. It's free, so go check it out. What do you have to lose? Number 2 is Arrowwood Viburnum, Viburnum dentatum. Arrowwood Viburnum gets 5 to 10 feet tall. It prefers full sun, but it can handle some shade, and it likes moist, well-drained soil. It's resistant to black walnut, deer, and fire. The only issue that I find with Arrowwood Viburnum is that the flowers, which appear in spring, are kind of smelly. They just kind of smell bad to me. And I actually didn't notice that until this year, even though they've bloomed in years past. So maybe it takes a while for the smell to actually be obvious. Like maybe it needs to get a little bit more of a size on it before you can actually notice it. Or maybe it's just hit and miss. Maybe some of them don't actually smell like that, and maybe different years it smells different. But that said, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up because I care also about smells in the garden, and so if you're not into that kind of smell, that kind of unpleasant smell, you might want to steer clear of it. But in my humble opinion, it's worth the bad smell of the flowers because it's such a great nectar source. It has beautiful leaves throughout the growing season, really cool, interesting shape to the leaves in my opinion, with the very sawtoothy edges, and the way the veining is, it's just really interesting. Plus the fall color is absolutely beautiful. I have ones that do kind of a peachy purple, red, orange situation, and it's really, really pretty, really, really striking in my opinion. And the berries are a very pretty blue, and so even the berries give you interest and beauty, and the birds like to eat them. It's also great as a nesting site for birds. So to me, it's worth the bad smelling blooms. It's great for privacy and screening because it can get really dense as it matures. So lots of foliage cover, lots of density, and lots of screening. We kind of already touched on the fall color, but it can get reds, pinks, peaches, purples, oranges, and golds. So it can vary quite a bit, but pretty much all of the variations are really pretty, in my opinion. Here is the native range of Arrowwood Viburnum in the green according to bonapp.org. Number 3 is common ninebark. Fisocarpus Apopolius. It gets 5 to 8 feet tall. The blooms are white or pink, and it likes full sun and moist, well-drained soil, but it can appreciate some shade in the further southern regions. I don't really know if that includes my area or not, because since I'm in East Tennessee, I'm in the southeast, but I'm kind of near the top of the southeast, so I don't really know if they need some shade down here or not, but so far the one ninebark that I have currently is doing just fine. It's thriving. But that being said, I used to have 2 ninebarks and one of them died. It didn't really last long, and they were planted just a few feet apart from each other. So they weren't really in like these completely different conditions. They both had full sun, but the soil is a little bit different in those spots. I know they're just a few feet away from each other, but my soil is just so variable. It is so confusing. Whenever they built this house, I think they just they grabbed the soil and they just tumbled it together, and I think I pretty much have every type of soil you can think of almost, but just randomly sprinkled throughout my yard. And so I never really know what I'm going to get till I dig. And so one of the areas, one of the ninebarks was planted in more of a clay loam, I would say. And then the other one was planted more in a sandy more sandy soil, even though they were like so close together. But I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it, or maybe it just had a disease, maybe it just wasn't doing well, but it died. So I only have one, so I can't really tell you what the reason for that was, but just keep that in mind because it is one of those shrubs that's supposed to be really easy to grow. So something made it not happy in that spot. Not really sure what. And I've since actually replaced it with a button bush. We are going to talk about button bush later in the video. Common ninebark is resistant to drought, which is a really great thing, especially when you're planting in like a sandy, dry hillside in the full 8+ hours of sun. That's when you want something that's resistant to drought. So some issues an issue that it can have is that you may have to plant 3 common ninebarks in your garden in order to get the fruit set. So just keep that in mind if you want to collect seeds from it, that you may need to plant 3. So I'm probably going to have to plant 2 more if I want mine to actually fruit. I have no idea where I'm going to plant the other 2 because I'm running out of room for shrubs of that size and shape. So common ninebark can be really great for privacy and screening, and it gets this arching, kind of weeping habit to it. The branches arch very beautifully and gracefully over, and I think it's really pretty, but some formal gardeners might not like that. It's not very like compact and like rounded, it's just very arched. So keep that in mind if you're more of a formal gardener, but I think it's really attractive, and over time it gets really lush, thick, and dense. So that's why that privacy screening really is up there with the privacy and the screening that it provides. However, I've seen mixed opinions on how fast it grows, and I don't really know what my opinion is. I would say so far mine is more of a medium grower. It's not super fast, but it's not super slow. But it could just be because mine's pretty young. So it might go crazy next year and just grow really, really fast next year. So I don't really know for sure. But I will say in the first 2 or 3 years, it can feel like it's growing kind of slowly. Especially if you're on a dry, sunny site like I am, or at least like that one area is. So keep that in mind. The fall color can vary widely, but it's typically yellow. If you get a cultivar, you might end up with different fall color. You might also end up with different growing season colors. Just your regular old, color of the leaves may be different. So try to stick to the straight species, because when you go changing the leaf color, not for fall, but just for the rest of the growing season, that can affect whether or not you get the wildlife using it as much as they should be. So here is the native range of common ninebark in the green according to bonap.org. Number 4 on our list is Virginia Sweet Spire, aka Itea virginica. Virginia Sweet Spire gets 4 to 8 feet tall, it gets white flowers, it likes full sun, dappled shade, partial shade, and you should check your local guides for this one, because this is another one where I feel like it can vary quite a lot depending on where you live and your conditions. Some people may have to give it full sun, and other people might have to give it some shade. It prefers moist, slightly acidic, fertile soil for best results growing this shrub. It's resistant to deer, drought, fire, and wet soil. Now that is pretty cool that it is resistant to drought, but also resistant to wet soil. That tells me that this plant can handle a lot of different soil types. Now, an issue with it is it can be weedy and it can form root suckers. But if you want to create a hedge of it, then that could actually be a good tool in your toolbox. If it just sends up these root suckers, that's free plants for you if you have that kind of situation. It has an arching branch habit, and its fall colors are a showy yellow, orange, and red, which lasts into the winter. From all the pictures I've looked at online, because I don't have this one in my garden, it has really gorgeous fall color. So definitely one to think about for the fall garden. And here's the native range of this plant in the green according to boneapp.org. Number 5 is Summersweet, aka sweet pepperbush, aka Clethra alnifolia. So what's really cool about this plant is that it attracts not only the butterflies to the blooms, but also bees and hummingbirds as well. So this is one of those really, really nice hummingbird and butterfly attracting plants. It gets 5 to 10 feet tall, pink or white blooms. It likes full sun to part shade and moist to wet, acidic soils with organic matter. This one is resistant to deer, diseases, erosion, fire, heavy shade, insect pests, salt, and wet soil. This is going to be one of those plants that, except for dry sites, that one it doesn't like too well. But almost every other issue you've got, it can probably handle it. So that being said, its issues, of course, like I foreshadowed, are that it cannot tolerate a hot, dry site. So plant accordingly. It creates root suckers also, if it's happy, and you may have to keep those in check. So that's the other issue with this one. It is great for privacy and screening, and the fall color can be yellow, brown, tan, or golden, but sometimes it doesn't have showy fall color at all. So my suggestion is when you want to get this plant, that if you care about the fall color aspect of it, go to the nursery in the fall when this could be changing colors for the fall and see what it looks like, and ask the people at the nursery, how long does it hold on to its leaves? How long does it have this fall color? You know, just to see if they know how long it'll have the fall color, if it even has any interesting fall color or not. Because some of them might and some of them might not. So it's kind of hit and miss. And here is the native range of sweet pepperbush in the green according to boneapp.org. And number 6, I foreshadowed earlier, is buttonbush. Cephalanthus occidentalis. Buttonbush can get 5 to 10 feet tall, but it can also get up to 20 feet tall in some cases. So buttonbush is one of those that I've talked about in a tree video in the past, a small tree video, but it also needs to be in the shrub video because it is also a shrub. It can be a shrub, it can be a tree. It really depends on the individual plant. It depends on the gardener and if they're pruning it a certain way, and it depends on just its growth habit. Also depending on whether or not it's a straight species or a cultivar, because there are cultivars that stay really, really short, and then the straight species may or may not get really big. It really just depends. There's a lot of variability. The blooms can be cream, tan, or white. In my garden, they're like an off-white. This shrub prefers full sun or partial shade and consistently wet or moist soils. This is very important. They do not like drought. Resistant to compaction, deer, erosion, fire, heat, and wet soil. A lot of the shrubs on this particular list are just so resistant to so many things, and it's so cool that they are resistant to so many things, and at the same time they are powerhouses for butterflies. So really, we've got to get some of these in our gardens. An issue with buttonbush is that it can be a problem for horses because it's toxic. So just keep that in mind if you have a farm where you have horses. Try to plant accordingly. It's great for rain gardens, water gardens, pond gardens, and any other water feature or water garden areas. And its fall color is insignificant yellow, according to the internet, for the straight species. However, I have some cultivars of buttonbush, and I can't remember if it's Sugar Shack or if it's something else. I think it's Sugar Shack. And the fall color is a little bit more interesting than what the internet says about the straight species. So the fall color on mine is usually it's kind of subtle, but it's a subtle yet attractive kind of orangey, reds, you know, these colors, but not in a crazy like bright way that we would really actually really love, right? More subtle, more subdued, but still pretty in my opinion. Here's the native range of buttonbush in the green according to boneapp.org. And number 7, last but not least, is Hydrangea arborescens, smooth hydrangea. This one gets 3 to 5 feet tall, and it gets cream, tan, white, off-white, green, or pink flowers. In my experience, they're usually like a cream color, and it likes partial shade and neutral to acidic, well-drained soils. It's resistant to black walnut, deer, erosion, fire, rabbits, and salt. Again, another shrub that is super resistant to a lot of things. However, it does have some issues that it is susceptible to. It's susceptible to bud blight, bacterial wilt, leaf spots, mold, rust, powdery mildew, aphids, mites, and scale, as well as nematodes. So just keep that in mind when growing this. It's great in mass plantings or as a specimen plant inside of your woodland pollinator garden. So butterfly gardens don't always have to be in the full sun. Sometimes they can actually be in shade gardens, and this is a great example. I was in North Carolina, and I was in this beautiful area that had a bunch of tulip poplar trees everywhere, and they were extremely tall, and the branches weren't even like down here. As you know, probably tulip poplars, they self-prune the bottom branches, so as they get taller and taller and taller, those branches are just kind of gone, the lower ones. And so the branches were way up there, right? But it was still creating shade, like filtered light was coming in, and then at their base were these smooth hydrangeas, Hydrangea arborescens. And I got to see beautiful swallowtail butterflies on this plant. They were loving the flowers. Make sure when you buy a hydrangea, you try to get the straight species, because if you get the straight species, you're more likely to get the fertile flowers, because the sterile flowers, the pollinators can't use. The sterile flowers, unfortunately, just are the attractor. They're really pretty, so they attract the wildlife, and then the wildlife come in and they're like, well, where's the fertile flowers? So it needs to have both. You need to have the fertile flowers to attract the pollinators so they can actually utilize them. So be careful with hydrangeas. Just make sure that they have plenty of fertile flowers, which are the flowers that don't look as showy as the sterile flowers. And this can depend on what kind of hydrangea as well. Smooth hydrangea, I'm not really sure if that applies to this one, but just keep that in mind with other ones like oak leaf hydrangea and some of the other hydrangeas. The fall color is supposedly an insignificant yellow. I don't have this plant in my garden, so I don't really know what it looks like in the fall, but from what I've read, it's just the fall color is just not really a thing, so keep that in mind when planting it. Here is the native range for Hydrangea arborescens in the green according to boneapp.org. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below and let me know which of these shrubs is your favorite. Which ones do you have in your garden and which ones do you not have yet but you'd like to add? Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. So I had to record this video twice because the first time I recorded it, I can't really see myself very good on this screen. It's really small. And so I didn't know until I had transferred all the footage to my computer that I had lipstick all over my teeth. And it wasn't just a little bit. If it was just a little bit, I would just let it go. It was so bad, you guys, that I was like, I don't think you guys are going to enjoy watching the video. It's just going to be so distracting the whole time. So I had to re-record this. So my throat is so tired from talking. I've recorded 3 videos essentially, but only 2 are usable. My voice is giving out, but I appreciate you guys being here. Wow. Oh, I'm tired. Can anyone relate? Hopefully. Bye, guys. Hey guys, don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky and Instagram. These are the 2 best social media accounts other than YouTube where you can find me and you can see me post photos of the garden, thoughts on wildlife, and more. So don't forget to follow me over there. Brand new items are now available in the shop. Thanks so much to viewers like you for supporting the channel. To support the channel, like the video, comment, and subscribe. You can also support my work by buying art from me at macylou.com. Thanks for watching!